Holy
12
shit,
months
Sax,
or
you've
so.
blown my mind with this.
My total spend, if I take out the launch video that I paid for, it's probably like $1,000. I'm like screaming at the TV, like rooting for these teams, like I'm about to win a ton of money.
Why weren't other people doing this?
Just throwing tons of money at this problem, but no one was building the products.
Welcome to The Local. I'm here with Sax Morgan today. Sax, thanks very much for coming in. And we should do cheers again.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Thanks for coming in. Sax, you're building something which I think is very cool. It's within the realm of prediction markets. But is that your background? Is that where you came from? Or have you always been a trader? Or have you been a builder? What's the genesis story to this?
The genesis story to Parabolic is as a trader and user of perpetual futures platforms and prediction markets.
Okay.
I was pretty early into prediction markets and poly market, and they were like rather illiquid at the time. So I sort of saw myself as a liquidity provider and sort of arbitraging different platforms, mostly in the sports world. And taking advantage of mispricings on poly market and traditional sports books.
Electronically or just like manual?
Both.
Yeah.
Nice. I live in America, so a fair bit of it did require travel to actually like place bet slips.
Fair.
To take advantage of that arbitrage or have a friend place a bet for you.
Okay.
But I just saw this capital inefficiency and sort of the trend of this hyper gambling economy that we have as perpetual futures are taking off. They're like the hottest product in crypto. And then prediction markets caught fire at the same time. And they're like, my two core interests are sports and trading. And there wasn't like this clean overlap that prediction markets are trying to provide, but they're not providing. Like you can trade live sports, but it's not the experience that I would want as more of a terminal-based trader, an actual trader. And every dollar down on a prediction market is coming right out of your balance. There's no capital efficiency. There's
this is something that occurred to us. Like we sort of moved as a business to look at prediction markets, I think, autumn last year. Like clearly within our space, there's been sort of high frequency trading going on within sports worlds for a while. And, Betfair Exchange has been out there as one of the primary price setting places for a long time. And they've had an API since 2000 something. And so electronically, it makes sense for us to be present in these because a lot of the model is very similar to what we do. Is sort of enforcing efficiency in crypto markets and other venues, moving information to make sure that prices are consistent across different venues. You can apply that to lots of different asset classes, and sports is one of the ones, right?
They are, and sports are the most liquid and highly traded categories on prediction markets. So it was really like a natural fit if you're going to apply leverage and high frequency trading and hedging on other venues. Sports are really the only category that makes sense. There's a lot of niche categories on prediction markets where you can't have that sort of flexibility to hedge on other venues.
Right, so there is another venue which is listed as similar enough contract.
Or sports it's a blanket case. There's no resolution disputes either. A winner's a winner.
A winner's a winner, The longer tail niche markets was where we started talking about leverage and the fact that you have to lock up your capital. Because our discussion internally has been for a long time around the potential of prediction markets beyond sports, right? For targeted hedging or targeted speculation on events or certain things happening, which might be a more efficient way of taking a view than using a proxy via an S&P future or something. If you have a particular view on a particular event happening and you can trade that event, then great. But if it's something that resolves in a year's time, currently, like on Polymarket or Cash, you have to lock up your capital for that time. Right?
It's really difficult.
So where's my leverage? How can I, So perps makes a lot of sense.
And it's referred to as perps because that's the term that people know, but it's not perpetual. These are event-based. They are expirations. So you're kind of pulling the architecture from perps in the way that you're speculating on an asset price with leverage, and you have funding rates and you have liquidations. You have the whole trading engine behind it with the order matching and the clearinghouse and the whole risk engine. But it's not perpetual. It resolves like a prediction market. So it's a bounded price between 0 and 100, and we know exactly when the expiration is, which is a benefit to most traders that you know exactly how long you're locking your capital up for. And it's a maximum amount of time that you're locking your capital up for because you can trade in and out. You can trade completely and be out by halftime of the game, or you can wait for full resolution of the game. They're short-term markets.
Okay, so the perps element is effectively a synonym for leveraged perpetual markets.
Correct. Yes.
Sorry, leverage prediction markets.
Leverage prediction markets.
Yeah.
And it's I really call it just speculation on live win probability.
Yep.
Because it doesn't fit squarely into perps or prediction markets. You're just speculating on the win probability of a game.
And trying to do so as capital efficient, as capital efficient manner as possible.
Correct, yes.
And have you built, I mean, you mentioned a lot of things that are technically quite a big lift, although I guess everything is technically less of a lift than it used to be.
Yeah.
But to do it well, and particularly when you're potentially having people put capital at risk ultimately, you need to do them with an attention to detail. But you're building matching engines, you're building risk engines. Is this all stuff that you've done yourself?
It is all things that I've done myself.
Wow.
A lot of it with lifting from AI. And I'll give a technical shout out here to Andrew Lloyd. He's the founder of Last.net and Hyperfy. He managed to reverse engineer Hyperliquid, which was sort of this like black box and no one exactly knew how anything worked. It's probably been 3 or 4 months of work of him reverse engineering it, and he made it just a public repo on GitHub, and that was like my main technical reference on how Hyperliquid's doing it, or at least how we think Hyperliquid is doing it. So I've had strong references for how I'm building it, but mostly built myself.
That's incredible.
With a strong reference.
Yeah, but this is one of the beauties of open source stuff.
Yep.
One of the beauties of being able to like leverage tools like AI now as well to sort of point at something and say, this is the repo I want to reference.
Yep.
Can I use the knowledge that's there and the code that's there and then build this thing on top of it?
Exactly, and it's not one-to-one. There are tweaks and differences because I'm not building another Hyperliquid, but it's good to have a strong reference point where I can have confidence that these things work. And there's a lot of testing that has to take place before we accept real dollars.
Of course. But I also want to go back to your past and your route into like trading and sports, if that's okay. But let's drill down on where you are right now. So the platform is live, Parabolic is live, but in paper trading.
Yes.
Paper trading through the World Cup at the moment.
Yep, it went live 2 days ago. Everyone that signs up has a paper trading balance.
You look remarkably healthy and well rested for someone.
Oh my goodness, you have no idea. This jet lag is getting to me. I mean, yeah.
I'll put that over just you being a young man. Like, so youth gets away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, not a lot of sleep for the last 2 weeks.
Okay. Fun though?
So much fun.
Okay.
I'm having a great time. The stress is frequent, but only for like short periods of time.
Right.
It's really when I'm staring at my computer and I've got this big back end dashboard to make sure I'm monitoring the health of the platform, and watching orders match and wagers come in, and like that's when like I see an alert that something missed or like there's some kind of misfire, there's a liability that I didn't account for. That's like a spike of like goodness, like I need to take care of this right now. But other than that, it's a blast.
And everyone who's paper trading on there is aware that this is like in development, right?
Correct. Yeah, they're doing me a service and they're trading with zero risk. There's no deposits required. They just sign up and they have the ability to win real cash prizes.
Okay.
And they're doing me a service of providing me feedback, and I'm collecting the performance data of the entire exchange.
That's a nice asymmetry or a nice dynamic.
Yeah.
Like, so no capital at risk.
None.
Provide me with user information. Behave as if it's real money, and I can reward you in some way anyway.
Yep.
That's super nice.
Yeah, it's actually how DraftKings got started.
Is it?
I think there's a few other like prize picks or top dogs applications like that started when there was a lot of regulatory headwinds in the United States and they weren't approved. A lot of them were doing these like paper trading competitions where you compete for prizes. It was like actual wagering. So it's a nice way to get users incentivized to use the platform and get feedback while you build towards your end goal.
This sounds for like, so to pull or to draw some parallels, like we are now a 14, 15 person business. We started as a 3-person business building technology that would allow us to market make, trade, provide passive liquidity of multiple venues. In 2017, 18, I built like early versions of this type of thing myself, and it was just about possible to run it myself. It didn't have AI, had a bare sort of basic amount of knowledge that allowed me to do that. But even then, it felt like it was quite a hard thing to do solo. And now you're running a whole platform, and you've got users, you've got like feedback, you've got things going on. And okay, there's AI that can help, but is there anyone else involved? Do you have community that are pitching in and helping as well?
It is just me as the team. currently today.
Yeah.
I'm raising a seed round currently, so I can add another head or two. But the tools that we have right now are so powerful that this doesn't need to be a huge operation. I don't need a dozen employees. This thing can scale with, I think, 5 heads or less. It can be a very efficient business. And it sort of starts with how I architected the back end for observability and monitoring that has like made it a pretty comfortable place for me to not be stressed out all the time and actually understand all the data coming to me.
Because you can see what's going on.
Exactly. So I've been building this for probably about 4 months now.
Okay.
I would say the main focus of the last 2 months has been on monitoring and how I'm going to actually receive all of this data and be able to read it. I've got, I think it's 16 different dashboards right now monitoring the health of different aspects of the exchange. Yeah. And they aggregate into alerts. So I like immediately pinged when something goes wrong. And it sounds like a lot because it is a lot, but it's really not. When you're sitting in front of it, it's rather easy to read and break down and understand what's happening.
Because when you have that level of familiarity with it, you know how to triage it well, and you know what's relevant and what's important and what's not. That's fascinating. Okay. And all right, so still sort of staying with the current paper trading World Cup, what's the next month look like beyond the month into the fall? So
the World Cup competition just started for the semifinals, so it's only going to be 4 matches. You have both semifinal games, the third place game, and the World Cup final. And that is going to be, I think, enough information for me to gather from these 200 or so users to know what I have to work on from UI, UX, and also what's happening in the back end, if there's any shortfalls, things that I need to address. And I've got sort of 8 to 10 weeks until the NFL season kicks off for American football.
Yep.
And that is when I want to go live, accept real deposits, and really take advantage of the best sports betting month or two of the year. Yeah. Because in October, you have the NFL that's live, the NBA starts. Yep. You have the MLB playoffs. Yep. NHL starts. You have college football.
Premier League's in full swing.
Premier League, yes. Yeah, so September, October is incredible amounts of wagering volume. So that's when I need to be ready to go live. So I've got a good 8 to 10 week sprint ahead of me to make sure we're ready.
And accepting deposits. So that means like real money being put at risk. Is that like on chain? Are you doing USDC, USDT, or are you going like, I'm going to actually take dollars into the platform?
Initially, it will just be on chain USDC. Using a custodial vault, sort of like Hyperliquid does with their bridge contracts. But it will transition to actually accepting fiat. And I'd like to keep it sort of the same ethos of self-custodial. So you'll put down $100 through a credit card or Apple Pay, and then we'll swap it into a stable coin and assign you a wallet so that you're always custodying your own funds and you have control of your own funds.
Sax, I'm so excited for you. I think you're the first founder I've met that, would you say you've built all of this under the umbrella of AI being sort of sitting on your shoulder and helping?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're the first founder I've met that's gone this quickly to this sort of level of development, which is really powerful, I guess.
The tools we have are incredible. I think like total spend that I would guess for a startup trying to get to where I am would probably be a few $100,000.
Yeah, if you think about salaries and 4 months worth of like engineer salaries,
Correct. And my total spend, if I take out the launch video that I paid for, it's probably like $1,000.
Seriously, your token burn?
Yeah.
$1,000?
Subscriptions.
Wow.
Okay. Open source models. Just trying to be as capital efficient as possible. I mean, total spend is probably less than 10 grand in total right now.
That's amazing. You mentioned Hyperliquid a couple of times. Are you part of that ecosystem?
Yes.
As well?
Yeah. So Hyperliquid is what really got me interested in perpetual futures, and that really like invigorated me to become an active trader and sort of run what I thought were sophisticated strategies and trying to be a market maker because their spot books are rather thin. Yeah. It was probably about 2 years ago when I started on there. And I thought that I was just going to kill it. And I realized it was actually a very competitive landscape. Then I walk to an office like this. I'm like, oh, this is who I'm trading against.
You walk from here and you walk down to Jump or Jane and you'd be like, oh, this is who everyone's trading against.
Yeah. But at the time, it wasn't competitive, especially in these like smaller cap spot tokens. There's no competition.
And Hyperliquid 2 years ago was a very different beast from where it is now.
Completely different. Yeah. So I was focused just on the spot market when it came to running my strategies. That was my introduction into perps. and I was a losing trader for sure on perps, and that sort of clicked to me as like most people probably are losing traders if you're not trading with a thesis or you don't have like technical help behind you or any kind of strategies. And that really made me dial in and like want to figure out how to be profitable consistently and not just be a speculator, because I also actively trade and invest in public markets, securities, and I've done quite well there. And crypto is a completely different beast, especially when you apply leverage. And this type of leverage offered is completely different to the leverage that you would get on a brokerage account, where it's a margin account, where you're essentially loaned money off of your account value to trade with. It's not isolated positional margin that you can be liquidated on in a flash. Like, it's completely different.
I find it funny that you draw that distinction, which is really valid, and then the core dynamic within Parabolic is like leverage on a highly convex instrument.
Because it's fun. It's a thrill. It's so much fun to trade live sports and then to apply leverage to it. Like, I was addicted to perpetual futures trading. You have these huge swings, you make a ton of money and then you get liquidated and you lose it, but you keep coming back. Because there's just this draw that you can hit big.
Have you interacted with any of the tap trading protocols that are there?
And I won't. Okay. I recognize that's a problem.
It's not so different though, right?
No, not a problem. Like, for the industry, I'm saying for myself. For myself.
You recognize my personality is likely to fall down a rabbit hole.
Sort of thing. Yes. But the crossover between, I'm an emotional sports fan. I've grown up with sports my whole life. Like, I was an athlete. I'm a super fan of my teams. And it's like, I don't even need money on the line to really have a good time and love the game. But when it comes to watching teams that I'm not rooting for, then you put a little bit of money on the line and now you're like locked into the game.
You're dialed in.
You really care about it.
I find it hard. I completely agree with that. Like, the level of interest and the level of emotional involvement with sports definitely changes once you have financial exposure in it, and it doesn't need to be a huge amount.
No.
There's also, because there's this validation thing about I chose the right team as well. It's one of those sort of dopamine cycles that as humans we quite like.
It's similar to perps as well, that you can have this 10x leverage position on a token that you hadn't heard of until 5 minutes ago. You have no conviction in it, but now you're staring at the chart and you're rooting for it to go up, you're rooting for it to go down, and like all of a sudden you're the biggest fan and you're locked in on this token that you hadn't heard of until 5 minutes ago.
You're diving into the telegrams of the Discord going, what is this thing?
Exactly. So just the ability to speculate with your own money makes you care a lot about whatever that vehicle is. And if it's already something that people are emotional about, like sports, and you put capital on the line and then have increased risk reward, it's just this thrilling experience. Like, I'm fully addicted to Parabolic as a user already. I mean, for the last 8 weeks, I'm trading against myself just to test out the platform. And I'm like screaming at the TV, like rooting for these teams, like I'm about to win a ton of money. I'm just like locked into the game as the only user with no real money on the line, just testing it out.
Give me I fast forwarded straight to the platform and your plans. Give me some background. Like, there's very little about you online. And yet you're stepping into the cauldron of raising. Right? You're going to be the face of Parabolic as it goes out there. So your world, from what I understand of what we were able to find about you online, like, it's like very sparse and minimal. What's the background? What's been the route before the hyperliquid stuff?
Sure. So I've really spent my entire career in startups or as a solo founder or trader investor. My first startup experience was when I was 20 years old. I met this really interesting guy on a ski trip who was 5 years older than me. He was already out of college. And he was explaining all the capital available to build electric vehicles in the United States. There are these huge grants and contracts to build commercial electric vehicles, but the products didn't exist yet. And specifically in California, they wanted to eliminate all gas vehicle sales by 2030, and they were just throwing tons of money at this problem, but no one was building the products.
Right. So what was the process? You apply for the grant, get granted.
Correct.
You got a startup.
Let's go build it. That is exactly what happened.
Wow.
I met this guy. We spent all night sort of drinking, shooting the shit about, like, if you were to submit a bid on one of these, what would you do next if you won? How would you build these electric vehicles? And he calls me a week later and he was like, I won a bid. And he was like, I'm kind of freaking out. I don't know what to do. And then COVID hits. This is February 2020.
Right.
I leave college, I move into his living room.
Seriously?
And we're 2 laptops on a coffee table trying to figure out how to build commercial electric vehicles. And we want a contract to deliver buses.
Okay.
So we ended up subcontracting the entire thing. We found a bus manufacturer, an electric powertrain provider, and a chassis manufacturer, and we sort of pieced them together and made them work together. So we would send the chassis to the bus manufacturer. They'd build an actual bus. Then we'd send the bus to an electric powertrain provider. They rip out the internals. They put an electric powertrain in it, and we deliver an electric bus. And we're delivering like the very first electric buses in the country. And we fulfill the contract, make a good amount of money.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is scalable. There's hundreds of these contracts available. There's tons of grants available. It's a very well capitalized idea. So we ended up acquiring a bus manufacturer, building out our own powertrain technology while licensing current powertrain technology to sort of subsidize the builds that we have within the next
Holy
12
shit,
months
Sax,
or
you've
so.
blown my mind with this. Like, why weren't other people doing this? Like, was it inertia? People just didn't see the opportunity, or?
The bus industry is a dinosaur of an industry. There's only a handful of manufacturers.
So people were doing this stuff but with cars? They were like applying for the grants, winning the grants?
Oh, no one was applying for anything. No one was bidding on any of these contracts.
Right.
That's really a mystery of why no one was doing it, other than the product didn't exist and people weren't hungry enough to go create that product. But then it got very competitive.
Yeah.
And then we sort of timed it right before the electric vehicle boom. And there are these SPAC IPOs. I don't know if you're familiar with the SPAC IPO bubble that happened in 2021 is really when it peaked, maybe early 2022. But yeah, we positioned ourselves very well. So we were able to raise a lot of money and sort of create this new electric vehicle manufacturing company. And we were a true OEM, delivering buses across the entire country. We had done quite well there. A company still exists today, is doing quite well.
How long from ski trip, beer fueled night of brainstorming through to that point?
That was, I met him in December 2019. We were delivering buses probably July, August 2020.
That's incredible.
It was fast.
That's a pretty intense period, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was very fast.
Yeah. But COVID, so nothing else to do.
Nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once we had that initial success, it was like, I'm not going back to college. I'm all in here. Ended up graduating online and really scaling this company. Then we acquired the bus manufacturer, and they had a factory in Ohio.
Okay.
So all of a sudden we're moving to Ohio.
Yeah.
And you're sleeping on the factory floor and you're really trying to figure out the automotive manufacturing game, which is incredibly difficult.
What a
I think
story.
it might be the hardest industry,
really,
looking back on to start in. We had quite a few strokes of luck go our way.
You have to.
Just to get to the point where you're building vehicles, and then once you're manufacturing vehicles, it's a nightmare beyond comprehension.
Like
it's
safety and regulation.
And it's capital intensive.
Of course.
I mean, raised hundreds of millions of dollars, and I don't know if they've turned a profit yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you stayed with that until you got bored, or you were like...
I ended up getting poached by the Boring Company.
Okay.
So, yeah, because there were very few like new age transportation experts is what I would call them.
Yeah.
The transportation industry is a very old industry where anyone that has any bit of expertise is bald or has gray hair.
Okay.
It's a good old boys handshake kind of industry. There is no one new or ambitious in it. And then you have Tesla come in, and you've got all these really bright engineers. And then the Boring Company was trying to sort of pull from their Tesla roots.
That energy.
That energy. But also, it's not a vehicle manufacturer. It was mass transportation, trying to move people and just logistics in general around cities. And that's where I had a lot of expertise because I was in the bus industry.
Yeah.
It's manufacturing, but it's also logistics. The logistics of knowing bus routes. And how people move around cities and how cities sort of operate logistically. So I get poached by the Boring Company. I was there for, I don't know, maybe 5 months.
Okay.
It was one of the most intense environments I've ever been in.
Really?
Yep. And I'd never worked for anyone before. I'd never had a boss. So now having to report to someone, incredibly demanding, have a lot of respect for him. A really, really brilliant guy.
Different dynamic though.
Completely different dynamic.
Yeah.
I had to move to Las Vegas. I don't think I saw the sun for 5 months. I was under the city in these tunnels. And then you go back home, you had to call at 3 a.m. It's a 24-hour operation they have going there. It's a construction operation. You're back in the tunnels at 3 a.m. I mean, it's a nightmare. So I lasted about 4 months. I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life.
But
completely burnt out. And I, from there, got really interested in just investing and trying to work for myself because I had enough capital to sort of figure it out and live off of and try and grow it.
Yeah.
And that's what led me to just the world of finance initially with marketable securities and then deeper into crypto.
I was going to say, if that was 21, 22, like crypto 21 was having an amazing time, 22 very different.
Yep.
But yeah, it was still and it is now, but it's just different. An ecosystem ripe with entrepreneurs and energy and people trying to do things in a different way, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, so I'd say I've been in crypto for like 8 years, just like when I started buying and trading crypto, but actually in it probably about 4 years now.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
4 years.
And so with that sort of base of capital and experience, you're like, okay, there's some things that I can do here. And so now, okay, that gets us to where you are now.
It's completely bootstrapped, lean, efficient, have a profitable business model, very prepared. I don't have a team, whereas before I had employees, I had a team. Yeah. It was expensive, completely different this time.
And gonna go for a round, so external capital coming in with a view to hiring some people to come in and help continue to build it, continue to press.
I just want one developer and then one quantitative risk specialist. Okay. That's all I need.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How's the round going? If you don't mind me asking, conversations, are they early?
So I have a good base of investors from the electric vehicle company initially that were sort of did quite well, and they'll just like write you a blank check. We're interested in whatever you're doing next.
Yeah.
So I can draw on them and just a friends and family round.
That's amazing.
And I have no burn right now, so I'm not in a rush, but I'm looking for strategic capital. Yeah. And that is something that I haven't found yet. I would like an investor with experience in prediction markets and also navigating the regulatory landscape of prediction markets and sports betting, and also leverage vehicles like perpetual futures, because I don't fit squarely into any of those. I could get a prediction markets license in the US called a DCM, but then I'm not coveraged on offering leverage because that's it's a financial derivative. So I need multiple different types of licenses at best, or I need a different type of regulatory clarity that doesn't exist yet, because this product is something that has never come to market. One thing I do want to touch on is about Parabolic being a crypto app.
Yeah.
It has crypto rails.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to think of it as a crypto app. There's no reason for it to be thought of as a crypto app, and there's no reason to attach a token to it. Yeah. It's a consumer app, and that's the crowd that I want to attract.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because for us, the thesis about where crypto goes now is that it becomes the rails that a lot of financial applications are built on top of. It's just part of the SDK going forward. Like, exactly. It's how you would build things now if you started from scratch in a lot of finance. And so we see this distinction becoming more and more apparent in the space. It's like crypto is just another part of the toolkit, and it's where modern applications get built. Would you describe Polymarket currently as a crypto app, or
more so than newer age applications, because everything is on chain with Polymarket? I think there's probably a shift purely in the user base that was classified as not a crypto app, because I think there's a lot of users that don't know they're using crypto, which is excellent. That's the goal for Parabolic as well.
That's very good in terms of the on-ramping, the deposit mechanism.
The on-ramping with Polymarket is why I would classify it as a crypto app, because I think the only way to get capital on Polymarket currently is through crypto. I haven't used the Polymarket US app, which maybe they've.
We haven't used. I haven't personally touched it in a while. The team are on it, but I'd agree. That makes a lot of sense. And where do you see the prediction market space as a whole right now, given you're sort of firmly in the disruptive element of it?
I think they're only going to get bigger and bigger, but. When I say bigger, I mean the amount of capital on the platform, not sort of the breadth of the offerings.
Yeah.
And I think you sort of see that with Kalshi and Polymarket now offering perpetual futures and trying to be like this whole...
Sort of everything app.
Everything app. Yeah. I don't know if that's the right way to go, if they're going to have a lot of success there, but I think the volume is only going to get bigger on a select few amount of markets. They're going to keep offering niche markets, which I don't think are very meaningful.
Yeah, and that necessarily so means at the moment you're not going to explore any of these esoteric niche markets, the ones that attract the headlines.
Nope.
No need.
Nope. Strictly sports. Parabolic will not stray from sports. They're the deepest, most liquid markets, and they're also the markets that are like emotionally grasping that users gravitate towards too. I don't need to be an everything app. The everything app that I see is all sports.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah. And it's interesting. The everything app thing, I think, is it's been a play that is manifesting in a few big companies currently within sort of new finance, like Robinhood, Coinbase are trying it, Kraken are definitely going for it as well. And you can see I can see the attraction because, Wall Street and the whole sort of finance is a big market, right? And it hasn't really been attacked particularly consistently from new, maybe VC-backed or Silicon Valley-backed business before. It stayed quite isolated and got quite high barriers to entry. So the idea that you can go in there and you can do all of these things better than the existing infrastructure is attractive.
Yeah.
But I think there's value in staying in your lane, right, and knowing what your market is.
Yeah, I think it can get out of control very quickly if you don't dominate one particular thing. I think once you've conquered an industry or a sector and then you're curious about reaching out and expanding and getting into something, then it's a lot easier.
But don't just tack it on at the side. From
exactly. I don't think there's a lot of success. And then it becomes very easy to sort of shave that off. Okay, that didn't work. Let's cut it off and let's move to something else. Let's focus here. If you're not all in and doing it successfully, it's very easy to cut, which could be a benefit as well. You can try a lot of things and sort of not have a lot of risk if you want to get rid of it and stop offering that product. That's not how I would want to operate anything. I would want to have a lot of success in one specific area and then maybe think about expanding outside of it. But I don't really see a need for that.
What does success look like? Like in a year's time, what is your vision for the business, for the app, for the platform?
Thousands of users that love the product.
Yeah.
I truly love the product. They're opening it every single time they watch a sports game.
On the mobile.
Yeah, sleek mobile app and onboarding people that are not prediction markets or perps traders.
Yeah.
There's currently a web app which has the terminal familiarity that perps and prediction market traders know and they expect, and it has the proper tooling, and there'll be an API for sophisticated users. And the mobile app, exact opposite.
Okay.
Completely dumbed down, appeals to people that have never traded on prediction markets or perpetual futures, and they're familiar with sports books, but just makes it incredibly easy to trade and understand leverage.
Yeah. Have you started that build out yet?
I have it on test flight. I can show you. It's amazing.
Yeah, had the AI do that yesterday.
That's actually not AI. Mobile apps have been, they're a pain.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually where most of my spend has been recently, is with mobile designers.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And is that because of the platforms that like Apple and others ask you to build on, like and the way that they structure it, or is it just the AIs have not got there yet in terms of understanding?
The AIs have not got there yet in terms of building a great UI for consumers, and especially the type of consumers that I'm looking for to like take what sounds like a sophisticated advanced product and really dumb it down to something that everyone can understand, that you can stick this app in front of your grandma and she could be like, oh, I'm going to buy some England shares.
Oh, don't. It's tonight. I've been trying not to think about it for too long. Okay, exciting. That's a great vision, I think. Thousands of happy users is something that anyone would be impressed with. One of the things that people, I think, have become comfortable with or understand a bit more now is if you use a perpetual and use it on high leverage, you're going to come with a liquidation price, right? And you can think about different ways of mitigating that with isolated accounting or portfolio margin, whatever. But the idea is that once it goes offside enough, you're going to get liquidated. Does that mechanic carry over to what you're doing with Parabolic as well?
It does. Yeah. Yes. Every account is isolated. There's no cross margin there. And the jumps in volatility are quite different from crypto or stocks.
Because of the convexity, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of convexity.
Yeah.
So the margin maintenance is quite a bit higher because if you're late game and the World Cup match is 0-0 and there's an 89th minute goal, the odds go from 50-50 to 99-1.
Yeah.
And everyone gets liquidated. Yeah. So you have a higher margin maintenance buffer. So there's less tolerance within your liquidation price. Your liquidation price is going to be higher.
Yeah.
And then we're continually building an insurance fund for platform solvency where all fees are directed initially, and there's liquidation penalties to really build up this insurance fund to protect against platform solvency. But there's a lot that goes into it, and that's what I'm mostly monitoring today with the competition that we have, is all of the liquidations and any gaps in solvency with these big convexivity jumps. Usually that happen late game, but can happen really at any point if there's a favorite that has a fumble of a play and their odds drop. They can liquidate a lot of people and go right through their liquidation level. So if you have a liquidation level at 40% and it drops straight to 20, you've got this huge buffer.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think sophisticated users like you're looking to attract, particularly with the offer of leverage in the market, which is not something that we're getting from a lot of the bigger prediction markets, they will understand that leverage brings them benefits from a capital efficiency perspective, but it comes with this gating mechanism, which is the liquidation. So it's on them to manage, right?
Yep.
So, okay, that's fascinating. And other than that, like, there's no funding rate attached to...
There is.
There is, okay.
Yeah, there is a funding rate. I see a world where we don't need a funding rate once the order books are like quite full and relatively balanced.
Yeah.
But where it stands today, especially with the World Cup, and we had the game last night with France, of the 170 or so users, 150 of them were on France.
Okay.
It was a lopsided order book.
Right.
So the funding rates are actually quite high, and they pay every 15 minutes during a live game.
Oh,
and if you're trading
okay.
pre-game, it's every 6 hours. It's quite slow.
Yeah.
Unless we have these certain bounds of lopsided inventory, then we'll adjust the funding rates and really crank them up.
And then you're pulling that back to an Oracle price that you derive.
Yeah, so our Oracle price is a blend of prediction market pricing, sportsbook pricing, and then there's a whole blend of just industry standard APIs for sports feeds.
Okay,
and we have our own models as well that try and tell us where we think the price should be.
Right.
And then also a bit of a prediction element of where we think this game is going based off statistics that we're collecting. So yeah, it's a custom Oracle that we have.
I think this is so cool. Sax, thank you so much for coming in and joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I hope for your first podcast that was all right.
That was great.
We did a good job together, I think.
Yeah, it felt very natural.
Oh, nice. Okay. And where can people find you if they're looking to find more about Parabolic and where it's going?
So you can find Parabolic at betparabolic on X or our website, parabolic.gg.
Okay.
And if you're interested in looking at the app, if we are currently live, it is app.parabolic.gg.
Fantastic. Thanks very much for coming in. Thanks, really appreciate it. That was great. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Great idea. I hope you have a lot of success. If your last 5 years is anything to go by, you're a guy with a lot of energy, a lot of entrepreneurship. I wish you all the success.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for listening. Please like and subscribe and sign up to The Local wherever you listen to your podcasts.